So the mid-1970s were the Wild West for TTRPGs. Pre-Satanic Panic, first edition of D&D, and they're writing the rules as they go along. One of my favorite things to flick through is the Old Dragon magazine, launched in 1976, which contained official expansions to the core Dungeons & Dragons rules. And some of these early expansions are insane, like beyond your wildest nightmares. They're also amazing as a piece of history for this entire industry, and they are objectively hilarious to look back on today. Case in point, women in D&D from the third ever edition of Dragon magazine. Obviously, these rules are not very PC, but this isn't meant to be like a takedown video. It was a very different time. We're going back 50 years. We'll actually talk about how the designers who wrote this in the 70s look back on it today, because it's really interesting to see them discuss this original material with a modern lens. But what's even more interesting is how wild these rules actually are. But I'm not alone. I found a white woman digging through the trash outside my home like a starving raccoon. So let's see what she thinks. Ginny, you are women, correct?
I am. I'm all women.
Well, as woman, I want to see if you can pass this test. I'm going to read you out rules for playing as a woman in D&D First Edition. Some of them are real, and some of them are fake. And I want you to tell me which ones you think are real. In 1E, women do not have charisma scores. Instead, they have a beauty score, which determines the outcome of all social encounters.
Yeah, so I know about this one. I know that this is real, unless you're trying to trick me by like, oh, it's in 1E. You said it was 1E, but it's in AD&D or something. But I do know about this one. I know about this one, and I read up on it because it's wild to me. First of all, because it basically reduces a woman's charisma to her looks. There's no way a woman could be charismatic in any other way. But also, it implies that men can't be beautiful, which is so sad.
Yeah, it is true. You're right. This is true. So all women's charisma-based abilities are dictated by their beauty score specifically. But yeah, as a flip side, it also means that men can't be hot, which we know is not true.
Absolutely not true.
Okay, well this kind of relates to the next one actually. So witches, spellcasting women of a sufficient level are called witches.
Got it.
Witches with a beauty score of 5 or below who successfully seduce a man will, instead of actually seducing him, scare him to death. True or false?
Oh my god, I hope that's true. Can we bring that back?
I agree. This is true. And this is the best.
True?
This is my favorite one. Yeah. It's like if your Riz game is aggressive enough, men will kill themselves when you try to talk to them.
I was just saying this like takes the misogyny and wraps it all the way back around almost into like a power fantasy where you're like, you can literally make men kill themselves with the way that you look and act.
Okay, so I heard your feedback about wanting a more politically driven campaign, and we can totally do that. Oh, great! Yeah, let's go! Okay, so this dragon is pro-gun, but anti-vax. I'm gonna need you... No! What? That is not a political D&D campaign. Those are political issues of the day. That's what you asked for. That is not what we asked for! Oh, come on, give it a try. I've got this gnome NPC coming up, and he's got some very loud opinions on women's rights. We wanted a game of moral intrigue, falling empires, deep, complex moral choices. Oh, well then let's just play Pilgrims of the Empire's End. Pilgrims of the Empire's End is a 5e supplement compatible with both 2014 and 2024 D&D, bringing a world of political intrigue, secretive cults, and extraordinary magic to your game. A dozen unique factions, over 15 new subclasses, 6 new lineages, over 80 new magic items, and a whole new ultra-customizable Scion class to put into your world. Now that's what I'm talking about! It takes inspiration from Dune, the Ottoman Empire, and reality-warping fiction, and anyone who backs a physical copy within the first week of the Kickstarter will get a free Cactus dice set. Take your games to the ultimate level with Pilgrims of the Empire's End, out now on Kickstarter. Link in the description.
Adult women have a lower base wisdom score than adult men, or a young boy, or a young girl.
Oh. I kind of feel like this one's false, because when I was looking up gendered ability scores, I feel like strength was the one that I saw as being different between the genders, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible they could give an adult woman a lower base wisdom score than a girl, like a child girl?
That's so weird. I mean, I guess it is possible because anything is possible and people do stupid things all the time. But it seems unlikely. I also feel like if you're going to be sexist, you're going to be just as sexist to young women as you are to older ones. Like, wisdom especially. Like, if it was saying, oh, young women have a higher beauty score, then I'd be like, yeah, sounds about right for the way that these people think. But I don't know about wisdom. I'm going to say false.
You know what? You're right. This is false, but it's a bit of a trick question because it is a real thing. It's just not from this set of rules. But you're right. In this set of rules, women are just down on strength. Everything else is the same. But this is from a third-party book called The City-State of the Invincible Overlord, which was released in the same year and was approved for use with D&D. But it is third-party, technically.
That's so weird. That also feels like one of the few things that historically most cultures have agreed on is like wise older women. Like that, it feels like once women stop being beautiful, the only thing we've got is being wise, being a wise old lady.
You can get the wise, they take it away from you. Yeah. I don't really know what they're going for, but yeah, it's a thing. Very interesting. Okay, we'll do a simpler one. What do you reckon about this? Women are better thieves than men. True or false?
Ooh. I feel like I could make the argument for why somebody might think that, but I know that thief is like such a sort of iconic, like D&D character, archetype, that it would shock me if they were like, oh, it should be a woman. Well, first of all, women tend to be physically smaller, so I could see leaning towards like, oh, it's easier to be sneaky, But the sort of misogynist angle on it would be like, women are thieves who are out for money. It feels risky to keep saying false. I'm going to say it's true. Yeah. Yeah,
it is. This is true, but not for the reason that you said. It's nothing to do with their size or dexterity. But high-level women thieves can cast spells. You don't have to have any levels in like a magic caster at all. If you're a high-level woman and a thief, you can cast magic where male thieves just can't. You do have to have a intelligence score of 12 or higher. Except for the spell seduction, you can do that even if you're stupid, apparently.
Right, but, that makes sense.
But yeah, interesting. So women, like if you're optimizing back in the day, you want to play a thief, it is probably optimal to play a woman, which is very interesting. So you got that one right. Yeah, you went with your gut and you were right. Yeah, absolutely. On this, we're kind of in the spellcasting era now.
Okay.
I want to hit you with this one. Beautiful women get access to special spells that... I'm putting this in air quotes here, ordinary and quote-unquote ugly women do not get access to.
I feel like that lines up with everything we've been talking about so far. And also it's so stupid because it's not like there's any sort of inherent... like, you're deciding if your character's beautiful or not. It's just incentivizing you to describe your character as beautiful, to, like, pick beauty as a trait. It's such a stupid thing to optimize around. It's not like... whatever. But I think probably that's true.
Okay, I don't know if it'll affect your choice, but I will say you can't choose your scores in 1E. I think
so it's fully randomized.
Yeah, so it's a random beauty score between 2 and 20 is what a female character has, using these character creation points.
Oh.
So you can't just choose to be beautiful. You're kind of given what you get in 1E.
I see. I didn't realize, because now we get to, even if we roll scores, we get to pick where we put them. I didn't realize that was not true in earlier D&D. Yeah, I guess that makes slightly more sense, at least, in that it's not just incentivizing you to decide to play a beautiful character. It's like you're just randomly getting a bonus or not. I mean... yeah, I don't know. I'm leaning towards still thinking that it's true just because... But you also said that the seduction spell, if you're ugly, can kill people. And seduction seems like one of those spells that would be gated to a higher beauty score if there were spells gated to a higher beauty score. So maybe it's false. I'm going to say false. Final answer.
Yeah, you got it. It's false. Yeah, for the exact reason that you said. Absolutely. You don't get different spells, you don't get extra spells, but the spells you cast do different things depending on how beautiful you are. Good job. Like I haven't been counting, but I feel like you've got almost all of these correct. Pretty much all of them. So you're doing really well. There's only a couple left.
probably get like half points on some. I do feel like you kind of led me to the right answer on this one by being like, if it changes your answer, here's some information. And then
I just wanted to make sure you said something. You were like, oh yeah, because you can just choose to be beautiful. But yeah, in the earlier rules, it's a lot more like cutthroat. It's like I think you get what you get. Which when people talk about liking original edition D&D, I think they really like that brutality. They're like, there's none of this like modern sensibilities of like play what you want. It's very much like, no, you play what you're given.
I feel like if you stripped all of the like weird dated like sexist and racist shit out of these earlier editions, it could be fun to play a game where like everything's fully randomized and you just have to deal with what you get. Like I think there's appeal to that in some ways, especially if you're playing like a sort of meat grindery game where like death is more common and you're just trying to like make it to the end. And then maybe when you roll up a new character, maybe you'll get lucky and it'll be better than the last one that you had. Like I could see the fun of that. But of course, randomizing your beauty score for female characters only, that I don't think is nearly as fun.
Get this one. This is potentially a cool one. If a male cleric gets a 7 or below to resist a woman's seduction, they have sex, and the cleric loses their celibacy and all perks associated with being celibate.
You know, if you're making stuff up, you're doing such a good job making it sound like it's part of the real rules. I could absolutely see that being true. Because there is such a weird obsession with, like, imagining your characters being forced to have sex in, like, early D&D. It does feel like there's a lot of, you know what I mean? Like, that's such a weird thing to do.
No, you're right. Like, I haven't thought about it, but you're right. It is like a theme.
It's so specific that makes me worry that it's false, but it would I do think that all of the pieces of that make sense. Like, it would make sense that if you played a cleric, you'd have to be celibate, but then there would be like, oh no, it's a trap. You're going to be uncelibate if this woman seduces you. Like, I could see all of that making sense. If you fail your save and then... I think I have to go with false. I hope it's false.
It's true, Ginny.
No!
It's true.
No! That's so bad.
There is a sort of power dynamic in, like, having a body so good that a guy forgets how to cast Revivify. Is like...
Yeah, you know what we need to do? We need to take these rules and rework them into a supplement that's about, like, weaponized sexuality for female characters. They say so much about how these game designers thought about men and women. Like, I think they say a lot about how they were thinking about, like, the way that the sexes interact. So
yeah, it says a lot about the 1970s, you know, just generally, and like, or I mean, these people were born in the 1930s, you know. Right. So it's like it is a real insight into that. There is one final question here. I want to hit you on a true or false.
I'm ready.
If a woman successfully charms a humanoid monster, such as a centaur or gargoyle, that monster will lay down its weapons, kidnap the woman, and carry her off to its lair. True or false?
I mean, I can totally see the sort of fantasy-like themes that would lead to that kind of rule. I don't know if I believe, though, like, why would it just be humanoid monsters? Because dragons, historically, carry maidens off to their lairs all the time in media. So I feel like
yeah, that's true. That's true.
The restriction of humanoid monsters feels like a bit of a strange one. I mean, I get the impulse, right? Oh, the humanoids are the ones that want to take a woman back to their lair and have a pretty girl around. But, like, I mean,
what do you think, Ginny?
I think I have to say false. I have to say false.
Okay, yeah, I think it's false.
Yeah.
It is also true.
Oh my god.
It is true. Yeah.
You know what I think is so fascinating about pretty much all of these rules is that even though they're obviously rooted in sexism, and a lot of them are disadvantages to playing a female character, but at the same time, they imagine women as so powerful. Like, the idea that women can, like, seduce you into doing whatever they want, or that if they seduce you and they're too ugly, that they can literally kill you. Like, just like the power associated with femininity in like a weird, like, objectified way is so fascinating to me. It's not just like women are weak and useless.
What do you think about these rules? Like, would you play with them? Or like, would you consider, like, seriously consider writing? Is that something we could see from you? Or like, would you want to do that? Could you see someone doing this? Like making these, but for the modern day?
I mean, I don't think I would do it because, to be honest, I already get enough comments that are mad at me about whatever perceived feminist values they think my blue hair indicates on its own. Like, I personally, even though I might have fun doing it on my own time, I just am too friggin' tired to put that kind of thing out on the internet. Like, it would just be it would be the worst week. I think, like, the tough line to walk with something like that is that if you're gonna, you have to kind of engage with, like, the way that gender does affect, like, different experiences in the world, which it does, obviously. And that would be such a tough line to walk. Like, I think it's a line that everybody would want to walk a little differently. So I think that the people who would consume that supplement, there would be a lot of people who were not happy with how it was done one way or the other, because we all have, like, different, there's no sort different of, like, quantifiable one correct way to do that, you know? So I think it would end up being quite controversial.
So yeah, these rules are kind of crazy, and it seems like the designers realized that because ever since 2nd edition of D&D, men and women have been treated identically for the purposes of character creation. And watching the original designers talk about these rules now is really interesting. There's a video up on YouTube by Tim Kask where he discusses the representation in early Dragon magazine, and he does seem like genuinely sorrowful for some of the depictions in those early years, particularly of people with mental health issues, but also to an extent women in the early game. He explains that basically these early rules were an attempt to get women playing the game, because D&D evolved out of wargaming, which was literally exclusively only marketed at men. And results aside, that is an admirable goal. According to 2023 data released by Wizards of the Coast, 40% of people who play Dungeons & Dragons are women. And we don't really talk about WotC's big wins very often, but this is surely the best thing they've ever done. Up there with putting third-party content on D&D Beyond and inventing the roving mauler. Yeah, look at the leg lion. Look at it. So yeah, the modern broad appeal of TTRPGs and gender representation among its players and its designers is basically a good thing. There's more funny things in these rules that we didn't get into, like how dwarven women need to have a higher beauty score to successfully sleep with a human man than an elf does. Which is funny, because I am all about those 4'7" babes who could crush my head like an egg with one hand, but apparently that's not normal. But in my heart, I'm just fascinated by game design, and game designer intent, their failures and their successes, and what they tell us about the world at the time these rules were created. As such, I love that these rules exist, and I love that there is a library we can go back to from 50 years ago and see how they played games back then. I donate 50% of all YouTube ad revenue to charity, and the rest of the ad money goes on paying for the videos to get edited, which means this channel is 100% supported by you on Patreon. Don't worry though, it ain't for nothing. We've got awesome subclasses, species, rules expansions, and ready-to-play adventures for everyone who supports. In this month's adventure, you have to befriend and train squadrons of kobolds to help them survive an incoming invasion. Look at them, they're your best friends now. They can die. I am warning you now, the adventure has multiple endings. Train them well. While researching all this stuff, I also found an awesome video by Zigmenthotep, which does an even deeper dive into these rules. Check that out, it's amazing. If you want more information on this topic, I've linked it down below. Also remember to like and subscribe, check out other videos on the channel, and yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you next time.